Good day for everyone. Subject English, 11th grade. Teacher Minapova Jadra. School named after Shohan Walikhanov. Our lesson's topic is writing, informal letter or email. And our lesson's objectives are introduce relevant vocabularies and phrases that are used in informal letter. And in this lesson, learners will be able to learn how to write an informal letter or email, and also will learn some tips how you should write an informal letter or email. Before starting our lesson, look through to the new vocabulary. Our first new word is length. And what is the definition of length? The measurement of something from end to end or along its longest side. Now look at the second new word, accommodation. It is a place to live, work, stay in, or etc. And our next new word is intensive, involving a lot of effort or activity in a short period of time. The next new word is level, the highest of something. And the word cost means the amount of money needed to buy, do, or make something. Now let's look at the formal and informal styles. Formal style is appropriate to a composition, a report, a letter to somebody you don't know personally, or a story. And the informal style is appropriate to a letter to your friend, an article for your school magazine, direct speech in a story. Informal writing examples. So in informal writing, you can use contractions. For example, there is something else I've got to tell you. And informal set phrases, thank you for your letter. And you can use informal greeting, dear Sam. And you can use incomplete sentences, great news about your brother. For example, this sentence isn't, doesn't, finished. And you can use phrasal verbs in informal letter. For example, instead of continue, you can use phrasal verb go on. And also you can use informal connecting words such as well, I think that's all I wanted to say. The connecting word is well. Useful phrase reference in informal letter. For example, greetings. Dear and the right first name. For example, dear Max, dear Tanya, and asking about them. When you are asking about someone, you can use hi, how are things, how is it going? And when it is referring to the news, you can say great news about, glad to hear that. And when you are saying news to someone, listen, did I tell you? You will never believe what. And when you are making suggestion, you can use these phrases, why don't you? Or maybe you could. And you can use closing expressions. Well, got to go now. See you soon. And the signing off, when you are finishing your letter, you can use these phrases. Love, lots of love, yours. And you can write your first name. You don't need to write your surname in informal letter. Now let's check your writing. Always check that your writing is consistent with your purpose. In your letter of application, check that you have painted a good picture of yourself. Dates, qualifications, experience are consistent. There is no irrelevant information included. It is easy for the reader to follow because it is informal letter. Now here we have a short, small task for you. Choose the most important 3 things you need to consider before you apply for somewhere. For example, learning how to type, use a computer, learning a foreign language, or etc. For example, you can choose between these examples. So the first is the cost of education, your interest, decide on your course duration. Next one is examine the course quality. And the next is class size. And the last one is consider locations. How should you write an informal letter or email? Remember that there is not just one letter or email that is appropriate for all questions. So make sure you know what types of information or letter are possible and learn some useful phrases to use. You can just learn useful phrases which is used in informal letter. And when you are going to write your letter, make sure that you have used informal English. And don't forget to mention your friend's letter in paragraph 1 and mention the points to think about. Don't forget to include any other relevant information. And don't forget to start and end your letter appropriately to the informal letter. Now let's continue. Look at the first exercise. Read this letter and answer the questions. Before answering to the questions, now let's read the letter. Dear Pedro, thanks a lot for your letter. It was great to hear from you. I'm so glad your leg's out of plaster now. Doing a short typing course this summer is a great idea. It'll be so much easier to write essays on the computer at university if we can type. Good thinking. I've actually done some research and found a course in Manchester that sounds ideal. It's only 3 weeks, so it's not too long. Also, they say in their ad that they can help us find somewhere to stay. There are still a few things we'll need to find out though. They don't say how much the course costs. Let me know if you want me to find out more. Anyway, I have to go now as I'm helping my dad in the shop. Hope to hear from you. All the best, Diana. Now let's look at the questions. Apart from mentioning his idea, what else did Pedro mention in his letter to Diana? Yes, the fact that his leg is out of plaster. And now look at the second question. What information was mentioned in the advertisement Diana found? And the right answer is place of the course Manchester, length of the course 3 weeks, and this course will help with accommodation offered. Now look at the third question. What information that they need wasn't mentioned in the advertisement? Yes, you are right. Cost of course and the dates of course wasn't mentioned. And the last question is the letter formal or informal? And give some examples why it is formal and why it is informal. Yes, the right answer is informal because here in this letter use it informal language. For example, thanks a lot. It was great to hear from you. Your legs out of plaster now. A great idea. And in this letter use it contractions. It'll be good. Their ad is a contraction of advertisement. We'll need, they don't say, I'm not actually sure, I'm helping my dad. And now let's look at the next exercise. Two parts of Diana's letter are incomplete. The first paragraph and this paragraph didn't finish. And use your imagination to complete them in an appropriate style. So you have to finish these paragraphs. Now let's look at the sample examples. So for example, Manchester, that sounds ideal. It's only 3 weeks, so it's not too long and we can finish like that. We get a certificate at the end of the course. And now let's look at the next paragraph. They don't say how much the course costs, and they also don't say what sort of accommodation they will find for us. I wouldn't mind living in a university hostel, but I wouldn't be in a bed-sitter miles from the center. But this is just a sample. You can use your imagination and you can finish this paragraph by yourself. Now let's look at the next exercise. Use the notes in exercise 1 to write 2 or 3 sentences explaining why you think Brighton is a good place to go to. Here we have 2 advertisements. Look at these advertisements and write why Brighton is a good place. Here, this is a part of a letter you received recently from a friend who is also learning English. And you have to answer to your friend's questions and write why Brighton is a good place. First of all, let's read the letter of your friend. Have you got any plans for the summer? I was thinking maybe of going to a language school in the UK to improve my English. It would be a lot more fun if we went together. What do you think? And you have to write your answer, your letter, and why the Brighton is a good place. Now let's look at the answer. This is just a sample. Brighton is a good place because it's quite near London, so it's easy to fly to. Also, the Danton School offers help with finding accommodation. We've got to think about some other things, though. It doesn't say how much the course and the accommodation costs. I'll find out about that. And finally, we'd better find out when courses start and decide when we want to go. But this is just a sample. You can use your imagination and write your answer. Now look at the last exercise. Write your letter in 120 or 150 words. You must use grammatically correct sentences with accurate spelling and punctuation in a style appropriate for the situation. Don't write any addresses. So here we have a sample answer of informal letter. Now let's start reading. Dear Luke, thank you for your letter and all your news. Your new house sounds great. Your idea about studying in England is excellent. I've done some research and have found a school which looks suitable. It is called the Danton School of English and it's in Brighton, on the south coast of England. Brighton is quite near London, so it will be easy to get there. Also, the Danton School offers help with finding accommodation. We've got to think about some other things, though. It doesn't say how much the course and the accommodation cost. I'll find out about that. And finally, we would better find out when courses start and decide when we want to go. Write and tell me what dates suit you best. Meanwhile, I'll make some inquiries about the school. I'll get in touch soon. I hope it all works out. Your Dimitris. So this is just our sample. Now let's look at the reflection of our lesson. So show me your thumbs up if the lesson was great. I've worked actively. And you can choose this smile. The lesson was ordinary. I've got some questions. And show your thumbs down. The lesson was uninteresting. I didn't understand the lesson. So show me your smile. Choose one smile here and show your reflection to our lesson. Good luck for everyone.